Basically, I've been involved with competitive intelligence since 1995 when I was in the Eli Lilly and Company, and at that time there was no competitive intelligence practices in many pharma companies, and I was part of the task force to set up a competitive intelligence practice in Eli Lilly and Company, and we went out to study other industries and how they were doing competitive intelligence, and so it was in the very early days. So I've been involved in competitive intelligence in pharmaceuticals for nearly 20 years. So just to give you a perspective who we are, why we are here to talk about this. So we are a decision support company. Within that, competitive intelligence is a core part of our practice offering. And we've been going for 10 years since I started Lifescience Analytics. So we're going to skip on the industry perspective. From the company perspective, I think let me have a show of hands. How many of you know SKIP? So those of you who haven't raised your hand, please, after this conference, please go to their site and see. So they are like overarching regulatory or governing body sort of say, which is very high level and generic ethics code that they give us. So, and how they define competitive intelligence. In some countries and companies, the word competitive intelligence is also not, I mean, especially in Japanese companies are not very, they think it with a little bit suspicion mark. So I'll let you read the definition. So it's a systematic, but what's very important is ethical program for gathering and analyzing information about your competitors' activities or business issues. And that helps us as a company to further our business objective, our strategies, and our own company's goals. So the main issue is here is that intelligence is collected and by plan is very ethical. And on that side, I think it's very important that you do not break any law of the country where you are operating. I think that goes without saying. No misrepresentation, and typically in CI there is no honoraria. So like as opposed to market research, there is no exchange of money for the information. So that's very important. But I think in some of the Asian countries that's a little bit challenging, so we will talk about that a little bit, how we deal that with Asian market. So competitive intelligence has two sides to it. One is the secondary intelligence, one is the primary intelligence. And ethical issue mostly challenges from the primary intelligence. A secondary intelligence is fairly clear. If there is a document marked confidential or for internal use only, that should be deemed confidential. Or if there is a document that information which is disclosed to you as a privileged information which is bound by confidentiality, then that should be construed as confidential. But in the primary human intelligence, there is a little bit gray area. We will talk about that. And I think what's very important is that typically a client would not be, let's say if you are Merck, you cannot call your direct competitor in diabetes and Novo Nordisk. So you would use a company like us to gather the primary human intelligence. And these are the intelligence which are not found in public domain. It is bespoke research. I know Carol showed this diagram yesterday, so it's a bit repeat, but what I was going to say is this part of it where the ethical issue comes in, much more where we get intelligence gathering issue. So this is the CI life cycle, and the red bit is where we have to be careful